Thank you. Uvunga Atiga Kupikutuk. My name is Kupikutuk, Simach, and KP. Like they said, I am from the Swinomish Indian Tribal Community, and I also have a band called Black Belt Eagle Scout. So before I start, I just want to acknowledge where we are. We are in the Chinook territory. This is the stolen land of the Chinook Indian Nation. And one of the things that I can remember about the Chinook people is during canoe journeys. Has anyone ever heard of the canoe journeys that kind of happen in Washington, whatnot, a little bit? Yeah. So this journey happens every July and August, and a bunch of tribes from the Northwest, they go and they travel from village to village, from tribe to tribe on canoe, pull for hours a day. And I was able to pull alongside the Chinook people and to celebrate this journey that we took together, and to share songs and dance and food. And so that's something special that I hold in my heart with the Chinook people. One of the things, though, about the Chinook people is that I learned recently is that they are fundraising to purchase land that was stolen from them. They are fundraising to purchase the land of the Tansy Point. And this is a very special area to them. It's the only known area where all 5 tribes of the Chinook Indian Nation were present at one time. It's where they signed their treaty. And it's really meaningful to be able to preserve that land. There's a bunch of wildlife. It's just really beautiful. So if you are a settler, if you came to Oregon on a wagon, or if you moved here and you live in a gentrified area, or if you just have the ability financially, I would urge you to donate to them so that they can get their land back. Yeah. And if you follow me on Instagram, I posted it in my story, so you can go find that, or you can just Google GoFundMe Chinook tribe. All right, so when I address a big group of people, I've been taught to always state where I'm from, and to state my parents, my grandparents, etc. That's just kind of our way, our native way, so I'm going to tell you that right now. So my dad is Katherine Paul. He is a tribal senator. He is a wood carver, and he is a teacher. My mother is Patricia Paul. She is a lawyer and a great gardener and cook. My late grandfather is Alexander Paul Sr., and he was also a wood carver and a leader within our community. My grandmother is Isabel Yakinak, and she was the lady of the drum when we had a drum group where we would travel to different powwows and sing and celebrate our culture in that way. So I'm from Swinomish. That's where I grew up. That's where my father's family is. And we are part of the Salish tribes up and down the Salish Sea. And it's a really beautiful place. I don't know if anyone's ever been there. It's right near the San Juan Islands, just a little north of Seattle. And kind of where 100 Rabbits were talking about earlier, near the kind of the Vancouver Island area. So this is just a very beautiful place where I grew up. Our people are very connected to the land, to the water, very invested in keeping our culture thriving, with canoe journeys, with preserving the area that we're from, with our land. There's about 1,000 people in my tribe, but the reservation itself, it's about 600 or so people live on the reservation, and that's where I grew up. I grew up there until I moved to Portland to go to school and to live and work here. The other thing about where I'm from is that a lot of the people and the families in that area, they have different jobs. They have different things they do within the tribe. Like some people help at community dinners. They're the cooks. Some people are more invested in being speakers at events and leading events. My family, they were the artists. And so my dad, he's a singer, and he's a wood carver, like I said, and I grew up in just a very, very, I guess, artsy-fartsy kind of community and family. If you see up there, that's my dad. He's singing to me, and that's the big drum, and then my grandparents are up there, and then the area where I'm from, the canoes in Swinomish land. So I wanted to tell you about two things. I want to share two stories. The first story is about my mother. My mother is from Alaska. She is Inupiaq, and she was raised in Alaska. She has a big family. She grew up within the Hensley family. We're a big group of people up there, up by Kotzebue, the Arctic Circle, and whatnot. And so she had a huge family that she came from. She had a bunch of cousins, a bunch of aunts and uncles, just a good tight-knit group. But when she was 2 years old, she was taken away from her family, and she was put up for adoption and eventually was adopted to a white family. This was in the 50s. So in the 60s, there's this thing that happened in Canada and in the US called the 60 Scoop, which essentially is set up by the governments in Canada and the United States to go in to Native families and to just say, if for some reason, like, for example, a family is feeding their infant traditional foods, the traditional foods that they have always consumed since time immemorial, that would not be good enough. So the child would then get taken away. And in my mom's instance, my mom's mom, she was an alcoholic, and she had kind of trouble sticking around raising her kids. So my mom was taken away. She was put in an adoption center with her siblings, and she was put up for adoption, and this nice family adopted her. They're called the Witkowskis. So she ended up moving to Fairbanks, Alaska, where she was raised, and she had a good life. I will say that, she did. She had a pretty normal life. She was, from what I hear, pretty rebellious. There was one time when she was going to school. She came downstairs, and she was wearing a really short skirt, and her adopted mother was like, "You can't wear that. You have to go change." And so she came back downstairs. She was wearing a longer skirt, but after she went to school, she took the longer skirt off, and underneath was the shorter skirt. So she's an interesting lady. Not really like that. I was always goody two-shoes. Anyway, so she grew up in a normal family. Far away, though, in Arkansas, there was another little girl that was growing up. Her name was Mary Jane. And Mary Jane grew up in the church. She went to Bible study. She had a loving family. And she loved making banana pudding. And while my mom was growing up, she got to the age of 18. And when she was 18, she found out that when she was 18, she found her birth mother. And her birth mother told her that she has an older sister and that she needs to find her. And that this older sister was also being raised in Arkansas, but she didn't tell her that. I'm kind of going side by side with these stories. And so it took my mom a long time to find her sister. She didn't find her sister for another 20 years. Yeah, it was a long adventure trying to do that. The way that she found her sister was she wrote a letter to the editor of this newspaper in Alaska that was this kind of tribal newspaper, and it sent it out to a bunch of members of their community. And so she thought, like, maybe if I write this letter, maybe it'll be sent somewhere, and someone will see it, something will happen. And lo and behold, this gentleman up there in the middle, his name's Tommy. He's my uncle. He was adopted with Mary Jane on the left. That's my mother on the right. And he received this newsletter, and he was like, this sounds like my sister Mary Jane. And so, fast forward, they were able to meet each other, and they were able to kind of rekindle what had happened to them, and reinstall their relationship as sisters, because that's something that, you know, you go through, and you're like, who else in this world goes through that I'm now not surrounded by? So I will say that she's kind of my favorite aunt right now, just because they're so close, and they put a lot of effort into trying to regain their culture, essentially. And I wanted to tell this story because I realized that, you know, this is my mom's story, but it's also my story. It's also why I'm here. It's why I'm doing all the things that I do. And without all of those traumatic things that have happened, I just wouldn't be here. And one of the things that I take away from that experience with my mom and with her story of being adopted and then kind of finding her own culture is that she's a really strong person. She is super, super resilient. She is somebody that I look up to. And to know that this happened to her, that she was taken away from her culture, that she had to work extra hard to try and regain that culture within her life, that's something that motivates me every day. It's something that I think about. I think about this history that we have as family in Alaska. That moves me into just talking about myself a little more. So I play music, and it's funny because I'm very, very used to playing guitar and singing on stage. Talking on stage sometimes is a little weird, but you all seem nice. So I'll talk about my music. Black Belt Eagle Scout is my project. It's just me. When I create music, I play guitar, I play the drums, I play bass guitar, I play piano. And I learned all this from a young age. Music, for me, is just a part of life, essentially, because of where I grew up. Swinomish, a Salish tribe, there was always singing, there was always dancing, there were always powwows to go to. There are always just cultural events, which I'm telling you are cultural events, but to us, they're just events. They're just things that we do. Anyway, I just have a very strong connection because music is just a part of my life. And when I was growing up, I danced. I was a jingle dress dancer, and I would dance in powwows. My family had a drum group called the Skagit Valley Singers, and we would travel from powwow to powwow, and I would dance, and they would sing, and so on. And one of the things that I have taken away from that experience is that my dad always tells me, because he sees me play shows, he goes to my concerts, he's like, oh, rock music, that's great. And he's like, well, you know, why do you do this? Like, what do you feel? And I was like, well, I guess, you know, I enjoy it. Like, he's like, but really, like, you know, I want you, he like just kind of went into this speech. He's like, I just want you to speak from your heart, to sing from your heart, because that's what your people do. And I wanted him to continue on saying that, but inside I was like, I know, that's why I do it. So Swinomish is about a 4.5-hour drive north of here, if you get on I-5. It's between Seattle and Bellingham. Right next door to Swinomish is the city called Anacortes. And if you've ever gone to the San Juan Islands in Washington, most likely you have taken the ferry from Anacortes to go to visit the islands. Anacortes is a very special place to me. It's a place where I learned about the kind of music that I like to play today, the kind of love that you feel when you listen to music. That's where this whole like guitar playing and drums and whatnot that I do started. Anacortes, the music scene there is it's a very beautiful and very accepting place, especially if you're a young person and you're growing up. They tend to invite you in, and you get to just play shows at a very young age. And so that's what I was able to do. I had a band. We kind of recorded some songs on my weird computer, and I put it on MySpace. And the booker at one of the venues in Anacortes found me. I was in high school, and he was like, "You should come play a show." And I was like, just imagine like a kid. You're like, a show? Okay. But I did it. I was very nervous. Thanks. It happened. It happened. So that was just what sparked my interest in wanting to be in a band and wanting to play music and wanting to continue on this journey of just self-expression and my creativity through music, essentially. After that, I ended up moving to Portland because I found out about this thing called Rock and Roll Camp for Girls. Yeah, cool, awesome. I have been a part of Rock and Roll Camp for Girls for a really long time. Since I was like 16 years old, I was a part of the camp, and then have been involved in a lot of ways as like a drum instructor, as somebody that coaches the bands, and as somebody that is on the board. I was on the board one time. So Rock Camp is a really special thing to me. And when I found out about Rock Camp, that's when I found out about Portland. I was like, what is this place? This place has music. This place has music venues like this. This is an awesome place. I must go. So I moved here. I went to college here. And I've been very involved in the Portland music scene for the past several years. Pretty much ever since I moved here, I started playing music right away. And have done a lot of things. I used to work here at this venue, actually, and worked at another venue in Portland called Mississippi Studios. So to continue, I guess, one of the things that, oh no, I can always say one of the things. I'm not going to say that anymore. Another thing that that I wanted to share is just kind of why I play music. And when I was asked to speak, they were like, maybe you can talk about some hardships, share your story in a certain way. And I was like, well, I could do that. It's like, I feel like a lot of artists, they just, they experience a lot of the same things. Like your van breaks down or something when you're on the road. Like if you're a woman, like people are mean to you sometimes because of misogyny, all that stuff. Like, yes, that happens. But I was thinking why I do this specific thing. And it's because of how I grew up. It's because of where I'm from. It's because of my mother. it's because of her strength. And I don't know if anybody knows a lot of Native musicians in mainstream, but there aren't a whole lot. And I found that going through the indie rock scene, going on tour, playing shows, I'm one of very few, if not the only, Indigenous person sometimes at my shows or in wherever we are on the road. Sometimes that can be hard, but then when I think about the fact that I'm doing it, I think about the fact that the way that I am here, I'm creating this space, I'm talking to you guys, and I'm making it so that other people like me can step in. They can take up more space. They can talk about the other issues that they want to talk about. And they can just be themselves. They can just live their lives. My partner's in New York right now doing an art show and hanging out with a bunch of really amazing Indigenous artists in New York. And they were telling them that they would go into this record shop in New York called Rough Trade. And that multiple people told my partner this. They're like, we went into the record shop and we saw KP's record. And we're like, yes, one of us made it. And it's a very heartwarming thing to just think about that, but it's also just a very emotional thing to think about that matters to people, that you see other people that are Indigenous, that are queer, that are just living their lives, and you see them out in the media. And when I think about what I'm doing, a lot of the times I think about the fact that there are other girls and there are other women like me that don't get to do it. And the reason that they don't get to do it is because of the epidemic of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls that has really hit, the US and Canada super hard. And it's something that sometimes when I'm playing shows, I'll be playing guitar and I'll think somebody could be up here like me, but they're not. And that's not okay. Somebody could be doing this and just be just like me doing this, but they're not. And that's not okay. And another thing that I think about is that representation for Indigenous people really matters. And so that's one of the things where when they're like, can you talk? Can you share your experience, hardships, maybe something that you have experienced. And that is one of the things that is what I've experienced, that I need to be able to represent myself in a good way. Because if you don't, then the horrors, all of the murders, everything like that will keep happening. So I wanted to ask you all, who here in the crowd is Indigenous? Cool. Couple. Who here has Indigenous friends? Yeah, okay, that's better. And then who here pays attention to Indigenous topics, in the news, what's going on? So that's good too. The fact of the matter is that if you don't see us doing things, if you don't pay attention, then nobody will do anything to help us. And for those of you who don't know an Indigenous person who maybe you have yet to do that, you know me. You can say, I saw KP. We shared a moment together. So I'm going to play a song for you. This song, thanks. This song's about my mom, And I wanted to write this song about my experience coming out to her as a queer person. And I was like, I want to have all these things in the song that like talk about this, but it just sort of ended up being a song about how much my mom loves me. So this song is called Youre Me and I'm You, and I'll do it right now for you guys. My mother, my mom, my mother, my mom, just like you, my mom. Just like yours, my mom. She wears her arctic cloak under the sun. She lives her life by love. I am the sun. She is the one who loves me. No matter what my heart becomes. My mother, my mom, my mother, my mom. You know you're me, and I'm you. Just like you, my mom. I wear my set, my lines here for her heart. I live my life by love. I am the sun. I am the one she loves. No matter what my heart becomes. Kusiam, Puana. Thank you.